If your brake lines were stuck like mine were, maybe this tip will help you too. Alright, so here's what's going on with mine. The brake line, whenever you would go to take it loose from the fitting that it was in, was twisting the entire line with it. The fitting wasn't wanting to break loose from the hard line. That's the scenario. So this tip, if you're having that problem, might help you out. Here's what I did. Now because I like it and not because I'm sponsored by it, I put a little bit of PB Blaster on there to start out with. Just something to let it soak in. If you've got a penetrating oil that you like better, you go with that. But for me, the PB Blaster worked. Now I let it soak for probably a minute or two, not a very long time. And then I took just a cheap propane torch with my little Amazon igniter tip on there. And I didn't run a huge flame, just, probably about 2 inches of flame coming out the end of it. And I set it right on that fitting, not on the line, not on the other piece that it goes into, but just on that fitting. And I held that on there for about a minute, maybe 2. Not enough to get it cherry red, not enough to start everything on fire. Make sure you're looking behind the flame to make sure nothing's going to catch on fire. But while I've got that flame on there, I'm taking a screwdriver and I'm tapping the hard line. Just tapping it. And I'm just sitting there just holding the torch and tapping the hard line, hoping that this thing will start to finally just pop loose just a little bit. Because whenever I put the wrench on, I gave it that first initial turn, and the whole line is starting to twist. If you keep going, you're going to break your line. You're going to have problems. But that heat on there, and I'm tapping, finally said, all right, it's been long enough, I'm going to try this. After, like I said, a minute, maybe 2. Of heat on there because it's not very big, so it doesn't take a whole lot of heat to get to it. Put my wrench back on, gave a little bit of a turn, and it turned maybe a quarter turn, and then it broke loose. Started spinning. Came loose from line. Perfect. I did this again on the other side. What I was working on is my 97 Jeep Cherokee rear line that comes down onto the axle. I'll show you what it looks like. So there you can see both sides had that left side and that right side. And as you can see, here's the left side and the right side. Was able to use that heat and tap method on both of those, and it worked just fine. But like I said earlier, 2 out of 3 times it worked. The third time, where that line goes up and meets the hard line on the frame, I was less successful. Now I don't believe I tore it up with the heat and the tap method. I think I put a split in the line whenever I took it apart before, because I wiggled it too much and I was kind of fighting with it and finally got frustrated. And this thing's been sitting for quite a while and I was just tearing back into it again yesterday. But I did use the heat method and I was able to get that end to break loose. So that part was, that was good. Get everything put back together. And as soon as pressure gets put on the brake pedal, there's a split in the line. It was shooting brake fluid clear across and hitting the passenger tire from the driver's side frame. It's just shooting it, so I've got some work to do on mine. But hopefully, a little bit of heat on the PB Blaster soaked piece with the tap on the line will help you get something broke loose that you're struggling with yourself. But remember, when you're working with fire, make sure you're not going to burn the thing down. Have a fire extinguisher handy, all the other good safety equipments and stuff that you know how to do, because it's your project. Be careful. Anyway, hopefully this helped you guys out. Hopefully you learned something. I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.